Thursday morning. Our guest hasn't called in, and we're just going to move forward. We don't have her. I don't think there's a backup. There probably is a backup number, but Robin is not here, and she does that, and I don't know how she does it. Our guest was going to speak about something else, so I can start with this topic. My goodness. Is that happening for you in the headset? Are you getting like a ruffling noise?
Yeah, it was, yeah. I think it was because I had this wrapped around this over there, and that was over here. So
no, it went away, whatever it was.
It was this microphone here, because I was pulling on this.
So Germaine Parra was coming on, and hopefully she will come on. If she calls in, I guess we'll skirt over to her. But she...
How do you know it's her?
Well, 'cause I read the book. I read most of it anyway.
Oh, okay.
Well, much of it.
Search Germaine.
Enough of it. Yeah, searching for the
Wasn't that a Jackson brother's name? Germaine?
Germaine Jackson, yeah. Was one of the brothers.
That's why I guess I associated with the guy.
Anyway, so she went on a journey. She was raised as a Christian, and she went on this journey to kind of discover for herself the world around her. And you know what I wanted to say to her is this: that we're taught often that the faith of a child is all you really need, and I do believe that. I don't disregard that. I think that's an awesome statement, actually. But God didn't make us that way. God made us question. God made us so that we would wonder about the world around us, and maybe intentionally, maybe he wanted us to question his existence. I don't know.
Well, isn't that how we judge life? You are a sentient being if you can ask yourself, why am I here?
Yeah. And that's
robots can't do that.
Kind of the memoir that she wrote, and it's kind of disappointing she's not on the phone because she went, some people never travel far from their home. Other people travel far, far away from their home, right?
Well, what's going to happen when the robot finally says, why do I exist?
Yeah,
that's
right.
Coming. Artificial intelligence is making leaps and bounds. Look at the hand the other day.
But you're okay.
Star Wars.
But you're expressing an artificial soul.
Well,
when that happens, let me go to the phone. Good morning. You're on the air.
Oh, Larry, this is Susan Schwartzman. Sorry, I thought you were interviewing one of my authors at 9:30.
Germaine, yeah, we were waiting for her to call, but we didn't get a call.
Yeah, because what number should I give her to call?
She can call this one right here that you got.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Go ahead and call this one because I don't want to announce the other phone number on the air.
I'm sorry. Okay.
And you don't have the other phone number?
Excuse me?
Yeah, and
this is the only number I have.
Oh, okay.
That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, if she can call the other one, because we already started kind of talking about what she was going to talk about, so it'll work well.
Yeah, so she calls 622-9622?
Yes, that would work.
Okay, fine.
All right, thank you. I don't know how that happens.
Well, you say don't repeat the number. Luckily, that is our call-in line. For those listening, we have a back line, of course, just for the
guests.
For the guests.
We don't announce that one for good reason.
Yeah, we try to keep it unbusy
because it has to be there when we
is that
need
a word?
it.
Unbusy? Not busy.
It is to me.
Unbusy?
It is to me.
Oh,
so anyway, when she comes in, then we can kind of backtrack and kind of say what we said already.
Well, I'm not saying. I guess I'm not saying. Is sentience considered a soul? Is that what you're saying?
If you can
ask yourself, why do I exist? That's the point where you have a soul?
I would think, right?
I don't know. You're thinking for yourself, so independent thinking can be done by a computer without having the question.
I don't think that the thinking that is done artificially is anything more than logic.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's absolutely logical.
But once it asks itself, once the computer goes, hey, why am I here? Then it has a soul.
Maybe once it asks why anything.
Yeah, well, you can program it to ask why certain questions.
Did you hear this thing that Glenn Beck was talking about yesterday, by the way? This device that was invented in Israel?
No.
It's a device that shoots out a beam of light, and I don't know if it's proper to call it a laser beam, but that light can diagnose and analyze anything.
Oh?
And tell you what it is and if it's good. For example, and the example he gave was a pill.
Okay.
Let's say you have a pill in your medicine cabinet. It somehow came out of the pill bottle.
You're not sure which one it goes to.
And you don't know what pill it is or if it's even good. You take this device and you scan it, and the device will tell the user of the device what the pill is and whether it's expired or not.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that amazing?
How can it tell if it's expired?
I don't know how it works.
How can it tell anything?
I don't know how it works. But once it reads it, by the way, it catalogs it into this Google sphere or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, and then you can see with the Google glasses?
and then you can look it up.
That's impressive.
Then you can look it up. And here's an example. For example, let's say that microphone you're using right there. You could scan that microphone, and it would figure out molecularly everything about that microphone.
That's pretty impressive.
And it's, I guess you may understand this better than I do, but that microphone, although to me it looks exactly the same, is not exactly the same as any other microphone in the world. It's somehow...
It has its own
minutely
signature?
different. I have no idea.
Well, I would think the differences would be in the time signature of when it was created. Although it's an identical microphone to this one, they were created 10 seconds apart.
It seems identical, but maybe... But anyway, so it can catalog it and say, okay, the microphone that Dan is using is microphone XYZ, whatever, and then you could Google it and find it.
Some type of carbon dating issues, maybe?
You know what? It was an interesting story to listen to.
I'm going to have to look up at that.
All right, I think our guest is on the phone,
Okay.
and am I right, Germaine? Parra, is that you?
Yes, you are. I'm sorry. I'm just getting the phone number. I'm so sorry.
That's
Oh, no
okay.
worries.
That's
We're
okay.
here.
We were confused too, but we were talking about you. So,
great.
So thank you for being on the air. Let me just introduce you properly. Germaine is a lecturer on the benefits of using metaphysical sciences as tools to help restore balance and energy and how we are connected to one another. And her book is a memoir. And if you had asked me to write the thing I just read, I don't think I would have written that. I would have wrote that Germaine, based on her book. The book is called Searching for the Caravan, by the way. Germaine is a lady who is a deep thinker. And she was brought up as a Christian. And like many of us, we say, well, what else is there? Is this exactly right? And what I was saying, Germaine, before you came on, is that while we're taught that it's the faith of a child that all you really need, God really made us more intricate than that. He made us question. I often think that sometimes when we question our own faith and people get angry at us for that, well, that's why God made us this way. And it sounds like you did a lot. I mean, you traveled all over the world looking for answers to questions.
Well,
So-
I have a question, though, before we start, for myself and my listening audience. Can you give us a abridged version of metaphysical sciences for dummies?
Oh, okay. It's a big question, but I'm going to try to do that. Metaphysical sciences really teach us about energy. And what I learned in this process, and it took me so many years to really get it, is how to take my own composition of energy, my internal composition of energy, which is defined based on the day that we are born, and connecting that internal composition to the external environment so that we can put ourselves in alignment, our internal selves, align ourselves with our environment and to the rest of the universe, because we are all connected.
Why does the day of our birth have anything to do with it? And if timing does have something, why isn't the day of our conception?
I don't know why it is not the day of conception. Perhaps it could be in some systems. But the way that I learned it and the way that I understand it is the birth date. It's also a recorded date. The Chinese actually do begin with conception. Most people don't really know when that is. And it's very hard to determine that.
To pinpoint that.
But the day of our birth is usually recorded, and it is the way, especially in the Western world, that we begin our journey here on Earth.
But in what way does that affect us? And how do we use that information?
Well, as in astrology, you can even predict going forward what is, the stars in the sky. We are all aligned to what is going on out there in the universe. So the day that we are born and the hour that we are born has a certain quality of energy. A quality of energy. And we, if you look, I mean, using my own chart for an example, we have I happen to be a wood element. Wood element people have certain characteristics. And around that wood element, there is the wood element that is the day that I was born, and then there is the hour, the month, and the year. They also have elements attached to them. There are 5 elements. But the way that those elements are distributed among the chart and the relationship that they have to the most important element, which is the day element, which happens to be my wood, will define for us how what kind of a person we are, the opportunities that we have in life, and how the potential that we actually have to use those opportunities.
Germaine,
so when you understand that, you can use the system to organize yourself and your home around a quality of energy to nurture you and to put your best foot forward.
Yeah. Germaine, in discovering these things, did it support or turn you away from the teachings you learned when you were younger, your religious teachings?
My religious teachings?
Yeah.
You know what? I came to understand them differently because something else that we have to learn in life is compassion. Compassion is being able to understand without getting dragged into a drama. I have an appreciation for the different religions because I understand that they are there to help us, to guide us to the spirituality. We don't need religion to get there.
Well, where was this chart? I was looking through your book. I didn't see that chart. I was just curious. Is there a website? You had that chart to look up your birthday and stuff?
Oh, if anybody wanted to email me, I will just give you your chart.
Oh,
fantastic.
I
will just mail. I will mail you your Botsi chart.
When we talk about how our birth date and the zodiac implications of that. Horoscope and connected. When we talk about how that's important and just for the sake of conversation, accept that as truth, and then apply that to especially religious figures, Jesus Christ, for example. Obviously, the man was born. Obviously, he was born at a certain time. And obviously, whatever, if astrology really does dictate in some way who we become and who we are, then
not who we become, the potential.
The potential. So
you can change your destiny.
Applying that to Jesus Christ, he must have had that potential, which was different than anybody else's potential.
Well, we all have that. That's a very good question, by the way. But we all have the potential. Jesus Christ happens to be, in my understanding of it, the most highly evolved human being who ever walked the face of the earth. He truly has, transmuted negative energy. You can imagine dying on the cross the way that he did. How he could have embroiled himself in anger and bitterness, but he did not. Instead, he lifted himself out of that negativity. He evolved into a godlike human being in that process. And our earthly journeys are really to help us evolve or transmute negative energy into positive and to become godlike.
Well, and that's sort of kind of why I asked the question, because a lot of times when one person will say, I'm not really Christian, I believe in astrology, or vice versa, I will always say, well, doesn't the teachings of the man make sense? Doesn't the
definitely do.
Doesn't the teachings of Germaine Parra?
He was a teacher, and if you look at his path and what he has done, he is our example of forgiveness, for gratitude, for understanding, and for awareness. And he also used, if you remember all of the miracles, he used the energies that I'm talking about to create those miracles. And that is really what the metaphysical sciences give us, the tools to help us change our life. Because we have to nurture ourselves and help ourselves before we can help someone else.
So the path you took was physical as well as metaphysical. Obviously, you were traveling all around the world.
I saw that. Yeah,
yes.
Right? The house in.
So are there?
But I am a deep. I have a spiritual connection to Christ. I consider myself to be Christian, not in some religious sense, but in a sense that he is my teacher. And it doesn't mean that we should not have other teachers as well. But if there ever was an example, I would have to say that he is one.
Some of the book looks like feng shui. Also, the placement of the furniture.
It is.
Okay, so you see, I have a hard time with feng shui. I don't believe.
Oh, no, I do.
You do?
Oh, absolutely.
Convince me then.
I walk into my house. It's a mess.
Let me finish. Convince me.
Oh, I thought it was.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But convince me that my bed going north to south is going to change the way I am.
It's not a singular activity that is going to change the way you are. It is trying to bring it all in alignment. But you can. I mean, the idea is to align yourself with your home, to slip into a certain energy. On if you look at a compass, it's 360 degrees. So, and feng shui is broken down in degrees. So if you sleep in a certain direction, that you will be able to capture the energy from that direction if it is beneficial for you or not. But there's so much more to it than that. There is not going to be one singular activity that is going to change your life. I mean, you have to, it's just that what it will do is to help you nurture yourself so that you have the energy to help yourself.
I didn't realize there were rules to feng shui.
And
big
then you can
rules.
help other
Huge
people.
rules.
Before I studied feng shui, I was desperate. I mean, I was, first of all, I was switching homes every 2 to 3 years, and I was living in third world countries where it was not pleasant. And I had a pre-death experience, but I had a heart attack at age 42 years old.
Ooh.
My children had almost died. Several times, not just once. I had tuberculosis. We were financially we're having difficulties. I mean, it just went on and on and on and on. And I was so anxious, desperate to try to do anything.
So is this where you started? The feng shui was where you started your journey?
Yes. Yeah. Well, no. I would say that my journey started when I was a child.
Well,
all of our journeys start when we are children.
Germaine,
it changes along the way.
Let me ask you something. If all of the beliefs, whether we call them religions or not, the philosophies, the religions, the beliefs, if all of them are kind of laid out before us like a buffet, don't we have the ability to say, you know what, just like a food buffet, I like that one and I don't really want that one. And then Dan might say, you know what, the one you don't like is the one I do like. I mean, don't we approach religion that way as people? And isn't it what works for you? Because for me, I still have a hard time. I mean, obviously, you can't convince me in a little radio interview that feng shui is going to make a difference.
Is
in
it,
my
or
life.
is it indoctrined? You were brought up a certain way.
I have an open mind.
I was brought up
don't.
as a Christian, as a Catholic.
Yeah, ditto.
And I experienced all of the other religions, and you do have the right to explore all of these other religions and what works for you. There are overlaps of these different religions where and they are intended to actually help us reach our spirituality. But if we can get there on our own without the religion, well, tant mieux, as the French would say, all the better. It's fine if you can do that, but many people do need to have some spiritual guidance, and unfortunately, many religions have been hijacked and have been manipulated.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Kidnapping Nigerian girls.
I think we all agree with
the
that.
problem.
Yeah, we all agree with that.
It's not to say that there is not truth in Catholicism or Christianity, because there is.
Yeah.
But a lot of it has been made, has been man-made too.
I think there are so many mistakes. The problem I have is know-it-all
interpretation.
The religion of know-it-allism.
Yeah.
The know-it-allism.
Yeah.
The know-it-allism happens to me all the time. And it is. How do you know? I mean, and I always say, well, is this something you believe? Or is this something you absolutely know?
And prove it.
And the Bible that I learned from says, thou shalt bear no false witness. So I can't tell you I know almost any of it. I know a little bit, but not much. Most of it is what I believe. I believe it strongly.
That's your faith portion.
Yeah.
Well, there are some things that resonate to us as truth, and there are some things that don't resonate. When we were children, we were more open to receiving these messages than we are as adults, because we've been told not to believe in ourselves, or not to believe, those messages. But what I am saying is, go back to that. go back to the receptors that we had when we were children, because our energy was much more pure than what it is as an adult.
I went full circle. I
You're
was
a child again?
I was yeah, kind of. I was brought up as a Christian, and I'll be honest with you, I questioned it a lot. I questioned, why would a guy dying on a cross actually have anything to do with me? I questioned it, but in questioning it, I kept looking and looking and looking, and eventually it did make sense to me. Not because somebody drummed it into my head, but because I was really asking, and maybe God or some divinity or something came through and made, slapped me across the head or something.
It was Kermit the Frog.
Well, if there is something that one really needs to learn in life, is the process and the awareness and the importance of transmuting negative energy into positive. And we can do that by offering gratitude for a situation or a problem, and thanksgiving and forgiveness. Forgiveness for the people who hurt us the most. So we have to be grateful for the situation, and then be thankful for the opportunity. To transmute that negative into positive, because that is what we are here to learn. We really need to learn how to be loving against or with, for our transgressors.
Well, I know we're running a little short on time, Germaine. How did you, to put it bluntly, transform your bank account? You said you're financially in some issues there. How did you transmutate your bank account?
Believe it or not, things did pick up. Things really did pick up, and in 2006 we moved back to the United States. Gee, that's a long story, but things did pick up.
I know we don't have time for all of it.
Germaine, I have a feeling if we went out to lunch with you, we'd be in that restaurant a while. I love listening to you.
We would be.
You're a deep thinker. I think we probably agree on a lot, and just the conversation on radio in this context is so brief.
Where in the States are you? Where are you?
I am in Vienna, Virginia, and if you ever come up here, I would love to have you look me up, which is right outside of Washington, D.C.
Absolutely. Same here. As soon as you come down, pop in.
Come on down. Yeah. Germaine, let me give away the book you sent us. If I have a listener who would like it, go ahead and call 622-9622. You'll get the book called Searching for the Caravan, written by Germaine Parra. Am I saying your last name correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And the rest of us will have to go buy it. So give us a website and tell us how to get the book, and we've got about 20 seconds to do that.
You can go on my website, searchingforthecaravan.com, and it is available on Amazon, both in Kindle and in paperback.
Okay, that's easy enough.
That was good.
And let me give away this one. So we can squeeze this in before we wrap it up. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
Thank you.
Oh, I think
this is Jeannie.
All right, Janie. Thank you.
All right, awesome.
It'll be waiting for you. Did I cut off our guest?
No, you can click it back again.
No, I'm here.
Oh, good.
Broadcasting from the
good.
Paddock
Oh,
Mall
jeez.
studio.
All right. Thank you, Germaine. Thank you so much for being on with us today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Good discussion. Very good discussion. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The president helping dedicate the 9/11 Memorial Museum this morning.
It's an intensely personal place, especially